Hi everybody, welcome back to my next movie review. This one's going to be drastically shorter than Harry Potter 8 movie review. Just because, I mean, granted the movie's a lot longer, and in fact it got split over 2 days, and it was like, I think like 4 hours long each half of it, maybe, a piece. But it was the Helen Merrin version of Elizabeth I. That was, like I mentioned, a 2-part segment. That I watched over like a 3 or 4 day time period that I had DVR'd from HBO. You know, because it's like, you know, with me, I was like, I'll have to stop, then start, and then stop, then start, because like I'd watch it on like my lunch break when I had time. And you know, I borrowed this movie years ago from the town library up here that I could spend like entirely too much time in. And I watched it, but I forgot what a long, stinking movie it was as a whole. I mean, because it's like a 2-disc set when you watch it. It's like, you get glassy-eyed when you watch it. I liked Helen Merrin as the Queen, and like I started watching the first half, or the first part of the first half of the movie, about halfway through the day it was on, and I was eating lunch when, you know, it was on, so I started DVRing it from there, so I could kind of finish watching it from the rest, from there, so I could watch it after work, and as I had more time to watch it. Of course, you know, in real life, the real Queen Elizabeth I was about 6 foot tall and had, well, as my mother would say, a real potty mouth on her. I mean, Queen Elizabeth, could swear and say things that would make a sailor blush with shame, or so I'm told. Speaking of Elizabeth having a potty mouth, you know, there was some other things wrong with her mouth, i.e. her teeth were black from eating too much sugar and junk food and everything, and were rotten from like a good dental hygiene care back then for everybody, even the commoners. And another thing is, nothing against Helen Merrin, but Helen Merrin's a normal-sized woman. You know, she's about my height. You know, and she's not a very tall woman. They made her look normal instead of making the guys all equal level with her, because, like I said, the real Queen Elizabeth I was a rather tall girl. You know, but Queen Elizabeth I, you know, Helen Merrin did a good job portraying the Queen. You know, like, the Queen would get really ticked off at, like, Robin, Lord of Leicester, and just, you know, threw him out and just refused to have anything to do with him for 7 years and everything. And it's just, and you know, the ironic or funny thing about it is, a few years after the movie Elizabeth I was made, Helen Merrin went on to play Queen Elizabeth II in another movie about Queen QE2's life after Princess Diana died in Paris and everything. I've never seen that movie, and I probably never will, because I can't remember the name of that movie offhand. Not that it, you know, not that it matters, but you know, it really cracks me up that Helen Merrin played both Queen Elizabeths. You know. And of course, you know, about 2 different women with the same name and title that lived several hundred years apart from each other. You know, it's like Queen Elizabeth I lived in the, you know, 1600s, I think, and of course Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth I lived in 1600s. Queen Elizabeth II lives now, you know, in the 20th and 21st centuries. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that QE2 has died. I call it Queen Elizabeth II QE2 because it's easier to say. And, you know, last I heard, you know, which was, you know, a few days ago, you know, I haven't heard anything about the Queen. You know, from what I understand, she's, you know, still kicking it over there in England, and she hasn't bought the farm or anything. Or, believe me, I would have remembered hearing about that one. That would have been a big to-do if QE2 had passed. You know, and I'm not trying to slander your name or anything, Your Highness. You know, it's just like I said, it's just easier for me to call Queen Elizabeth II QE2, because that's, you know, her name, you know, like the name of the boat, they call the boat QE2. That's what I call the Queen, you know, QE2, you know, Queen Elizabeth II. Now, back to the movie, though. I really did enjoy the movie, but, you know, the main thing is with me, is it made me remember how volatile Queen Elizabeth I was as a person in real life. And the other thing is you know, because the movie itself is really blood and guts violent. I mean, it shows disembowelment and, you know, the rack and, you know, people getting drawn and quartered. And it is just, you know, after having watched Apocalypse Now, believe me, I can sit through that and watch it without a problem. You know, I'm like, whatever. But anyway, I'm going to pause here because I have some other comments I want to make. Alright, so hang on.